Thank you for joining us for the CFP Board's Business Update webinar. I am Felicia Gopaul, and I am pleased to be the moderator for today's event. For those of you who don't know me, I help parents leave a legacy of college graduation to their children. Today we'll hear updates from the latest Board of Directors meeting. We'll hear an update on the status of the Department of Labor's proposal for We'll hear an update on the status of the Department of Labor's proposal to amend the definition of fiduciary for retirement advisors. We'll also take a look at the CFP Board's overarching outcomes with its strategic focus on awareness, growth, recognition, and regulation and authority, or AGRA for short. In addition, we'll be reviewing some recent certification requirement updates, including the implementation of the CFP Board's latest job analysis study and the multi-year CE Quality Improvement Initiative. In addition, we'll be addressing questions from the audience. Before we get started, I want to cover a few technical details about this event. If you run into issues for this presentation, or if it seems like the slides are out of sync, try refreshing your webinar console. To do that on your PC, press F5. If you're on a Mac, please press Command R. You'll also see a question and answer function on your screen that you can use at any time during the program to submit questions to us. We'll try to address as many questions as possible during the Q&A session at the end of the program. However, if we don't get to your question today during the broadcast, CFP Board will follow up to provide you an answer. We have a lot of great information to share with you today, and we intend to leave plenty of time to answer your questions. Joining me today for today's panel are Rich Rojeck, 2015 Chair of the Board of Directors, and Kevin Keller, CFP Board CEO. I want to thank you all for joining us. We are broadcasting live from the San Diego area, where the Board of Directors just finished up the latest meeting. Rich, what updates do you have to share with us about the meeting?
Well, Felicia, we met the past few days for our second in-person board meeting of 2015. In addition to our regular work as the Board of Directors, we had a joint meeting with our colleagues from Canada. The Board of Directors of the Financial Planning Standards Council Canada joined us for a good discussion of our respective CFP certification programs. CFP Board and FPSC are both member organizations of the Financial Planning Standards Board, which has member organizations in 26 territories or countries around the world. They refer to them as territories. Collectively, FPSB members certify more than 150,000 CFP professionals around the world. That includes more than 72,000 CFP professionals here in the U.S. and about 17,000 CFP professionals in Canada. Our CFP certification programs are built around the same certification standards, and we're all working toward the same goals of making competent and ethical financial planning available for the public's benefit. And we have a good discussion about issues of importance to both of our organizations. As we normally do at our board meetings, we review the progress of a number of initiatives that are furthering our overarching goals. In 2012, CFP Board established what we call AGRA, which is made up of our 4 overarching outcomes related closely to CFP Board's mission that are the focus of our work over the next several years. And let me briefly review them. Awareness, which is awareness among the public, also within the financial services industry, and then among policymakers and thought leaders. So that's the awareness, or A, in AGRA. The G is growth in the number of CFP professionals from the 72,000 and moving that forward from today. The R stands for recognition and regulation, and that relates to our long-term goals to see financial planners recognized and regulated as a bona fide profession. And then fourthly, the A in AGRA, the second A, authority, is another key way that CFP Board advances its mission to benefit the public. And this consists of seeking to advance the body of knowledge for the financial planning profession and build the capacity of the profession to sustain the growth in the number of CFP professionals as well as the diversity. And our goal is that financial planning is seen as a separate, rigorous discipline supported by academic research for the benefit of the public, professionals, and educators. The board also discussed a number of issues that have come up recently, including the Department of Labor's proposed fiduciary rule.
Rich, can you tell us what updates you can share about the proposed rule status and how the CFP board is responding to it?
Yes, be happy to try to do that. The Department of Labor's proposal would amend and expand the applicability of the definition of fiduciary advisor under ERISA, a definition that hasn't been updated for some 40 years. 40 years ago, just by way of some historical context, 40 years ago, 401ks didn't exist, and IRAs were just an emerging retirement tool at that point that held very few total retirement assets. In contrast, today more than 40 million Americans have savings of more than $7 trillion in IRAs. As we shared with CFP professionals recently, CFP Board has made a careful review of the DOL's proposal, and we are working on a comment letter to the Department of Labor, which we plan to file jointly with the Financial Planning Association, FPA, and NAPFA, National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, NAPFA, as the three members of the Financial Planning Coalition. CFP Board has been a strong advocate for fiduciary-level financial advice, and we support the DOL's proposed rule given the many ways it will benefit and protect Americans saving for retirement. For example, the proposed rule provides a broader and clearer definition of what it means to provide investment advice, something that will help protect participants and beneficiaries from conflicts of interest and self-dealing. It also expands the types of circumstances in which advice providers are subject to fiduciary responsibilities, which we believe will better protect the interests of plan participants and beneficiaries. And it accommodates, importantly, a range of evolving business models with the DOL's new broad principles-based prohibited transaction exemptions while yet preserving a strong fiduciary standard. We believe this is a very strong proposal from the DOL, and we are broadly supportive of it. Yet, of course, no proposal of this size and scale is perfect. We will be providing commentary to the DOL in ways that we believe they can strengthen the proposal, provide consumer protections, and ensure that advisors have flexibility in how it is applied. We'll be making these suggestions with the intent of ensuring that retirement savers have the protection of a meaningful fiduciary standard. And based on the conversations that we've had with the DOL, we believe that they want to make the rule workable for participants, in the financial services industry, those that are providing advice and product solutions.
So, Kevin, can you share what the CFP Board's work, can you share about the CFP's work to increase the public awareness of CFP professionals like myself?
Indeed, Felicia. And first of all, welcome and thank you for being a part of this. Our public awareness campaign to increase awareness of CFP professionals began really with ideas going back to 2009 and 10 when CFP professionals openly articulated a desire for increased awareness. We kicked the campaign off in 2011 and it continues through 2015. The campaign is taking what we would say is a coordinated approach to reach our target audience, and that is what we describe as the mass affluent initiators. And we're using a combination of paid advertising, that's the DJ ad, the print ads, the National Public Radio and others, along with what we call earned media opportunities. And that's where we are actually working with our public relations folks and ambassadors like yourself and our consumer advocate. We continue to be very pleased with the progress of the campaign. The campaign includes a mix of national cable television. We are in print publications and on national radio. Last April, the campaign introduced a new, what we call the DJ TV ad, as well as radio sponsorship. And again, we're pleased with the effort, including our new extreme sports part of the campaign. These ads feature people who choose hobbies that may put them in extreme danger. And while they may do it for fun, the ads make clear that they do not take the same approach to their finances. All of the ads take you to our consumer website, letsmakeaplan.org, which encourages visitors to seek out and work with a CFP professional. And the campaign's paid advertising, as I said, is supported by our earned media, including the important work done by a number of volunteers, over 50 CFP professionals who are our CFP Board ambassadors. Measuring the campaign's success is of utmost importance to all of us at CFP Board, and we have been measuring the campaign's progress through annual brand tracking studies. Our 2013 brand tracking study showed that the campaign had far exceeded our initial expectations. In fact, we reached what initially had been set out as a 4-year goal in only 2 years. In 2014, after the DJ ad flight of TV was complete, we showed a 6 percentage point increase over 2013 for what we call unaided awareness among our target audience. We're pleased with the results for the 2015 brand tracking study, again, which was conducted at the same time. We used the same firm, the same methodology. It's an independent research firm that does only this kind of work. We saw continued growth in unaided awareness among our mass affluent initiator target, with a 4 percentage point increase over last year. We've now doubled unaided awareness in that group since the start of the campaign. So we're essentially at about a third of all people in our target audience know about CFP certification when you ask them what one designation do you think about when it comes to financial planning services.
So Kevin, can I interrupt you for a minute? Could you tell me what unaided awareness is? Is that when you ask the question and they answer it?
Sure. So the way the methodology for the research is as follows. The research firm, first of all, screens for our target audience. So once they have the target audience, and then in one-on-one interviews, they ask the question, what one designation or professional designation do you know that provides financial planning services? So if they can say CFP or Certified Financial Planner without any prompting, nothing in front of them, we count that as unaided awareness. The first mention we count as top of mind. That's where we really want to be. And then we say, well, do you know of any others? And if they say, that would be also unaided until they can't name anymore. And then we actually show them the CFP logo. Have you ever seen or do you know about this? And then we would call that aided awareness. So that's how we do it. Our latest brand tracking study also found that in addition to increased awareness, CFP certification's brand is strengthening among consumers as well. There were significant increases measured in people's attitudes about what CFP certification means, especially with regard to things like familiarity, uniqueness, likelihood to recommend to a friend, and quality. These qualities are significant, especially when we think about our overall campaign objectives, which are to increase the awareness of, the preference for, and the intent to use a CFP professional. Perhaps the most exciting part of this year's study is how the CFP certification stacks up alongside all of the other prominent designations in the financial planning arena. Awareness of CFP certification is 2 to 3 times higher than other financial planning designations. This particular chart shows the total awareness. That would be the aided plus the unaided awareness. But if you look at just the unaided awareness, and I would suggest that's the most important, among unaided awareness, we're well ahead of all of the other financial planning or the designations to the right of the chart. We, again, are steadily closing the gap between awareness of CFP certification and awareness of the CPA. A lot of people say, oh, a CPA would provide, and many CPAs do provide financial planning, but that's typically what people think, and so we're closing that gap on total awareness. The campaign continues through the rest of this year with placements, again, as we've said, across TV, radio, online, and print. The campaign's media strategy gets tweaked each year based on what's performing well. This year, there's more of a focus on broadcast with TV and radio in both the spring and the fall. This will be the first time that we've had the TV flight in the fall. We'll be running the DJ ad in the fall on networks like Fox News, MSNBC, National Geographic, and AMC. For radio, and Rich, this is for you partly because you're such a big fan of Mike and Mike in the morning. We're back on the air, and as well as NPR. For the print ads, there are familiar publications like The Atlantic, Kiplinger's, Travel and Leisure, and more magazines that target the high-end reader as well, like the Robb Report and the Financial Times. We hope you all keep an eye out for the ads from our campaign and that you consider how you can help us extend the campaign's reach in your community. You know, you can do that through the Public Awareness Campaign Toolkit on our website, where we have materials designed for CFP professionals to use on their own websites and business materials. There are customizable versions of the print ads, instructions for using the campaign elements on your own website, and templates for communications with your clients and prospects. You can take a look at the 2015 advertising schedule there, Felicia, as well. And during our run of the TV ads, which aired during March and April, and will pick up again in October, you'll find a weekly TV programming schedule that lists the channels and times of the shows the TV ad is expected to run on. Work is ongoing to develop a new toolkit materials to help CFP professionals extend the message. So we hope that you'll check back at the toolkit from time to time.
Rich, can you speak more about the driving CFP Board's focus on overarching outcomes of growth?
Sure, Felicia. Our discussions have been focused on the concept, our being the board's discussions relative to this topic of growth, have been focused on the concept of what we're referring to as growth with integrity. And by that, we mean not growth at any cost, but growth that grows the number of CFP certificates while remaining mindful of the integrity of the CFP rigor and all it stands for. Our goal is to make the CFP certification the must-have for those providing financial advice and those receiving financial advice. As more consumers become aware of CFP professionals and seek their services, we want to ensure we have enough CFP professionals to meet the demand. We've seen steady growth in our numbers over the years. We've seen an increase of over 30% since 2007, which just happens to correspond when our CEO, Kevin Keller, joined the organization. We just keep benchmarking to that. Yet the total number of CFP professionals is only about 20% of the total number of practicing financial advisors, according to data from Cerulli. And it's no secret that the profession today does not reflect the diversity of the public we serve. So there are obviously many opportunities and challenges as we look toward growing a profession with the resources needed to serve the American public. Our new CFP Board Center is one of the important steps we've taken to encourage growth and to help increase the capacity of the financial planning profession. We know that gaining relevant professional experience is a part of the CFP certification process that has historically been a challenge for some, the 2 or 3 year experience requirement. The new Career Center provides future CFP professionals with the internship and job opportunities that can contribute to their professional development and help them continue their path to certification. It serves as the destination for those interested in a career as a financial planner, CFP certification, and job and internship opportunities. And importantly, it provides benefit for the public, employers, and job seekers as it helps bridge the gap between firms seeking talent and those looking to enter the profession or further their careers. Currently, there are, by the way, 104 job postings from 66 employers on our career site.
Richard, I think it's important also to note that we have had job postings from every state in the union and every business model there. So there are opportunities galore on the Career Center site.
Thank you for pointing that out, Kevin. New job postings are added regularly, and we are close to having 1,000 searchable resumes available to employers with active job postings. We've held several webinars on important issues for job seekers and employers, as well as collections of resources for both job seekers and employers that are supplemented regularly with new articles. To our listeners, please check out the new Career Center and help us spread the word to your colleagues and acquaintances who may be looking for a new job or seeking new talent for their own firms. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to our manager of the Career Center, Dr. Lisa Andrews, whose information is also on the screen. Our growth-focused initiatives also include a focus on implementing programs that encourage broader diversity among our CFP professionals. We want CFP professionals to get involved with our Women's Initiative, which is following up on the findings of our groundbreaking qualitative and quantitative research effort to better understand why only 23% of our CFP certificants are women. Our white paper has outlined an action plan of steps CFP Board and everyone can take us to grow the number of women in our profession. You can download the white paper, learn more about the WIN initiative, and sign up to support the initiative at www.cfp.net/win. We're pleased that to date hundreds of people have signed up to support the initiative, and we have now 216 CFP professionals who have agreed to serve as WIN advocates. They are using our WIN Advocate Toolkit to communicate to their networks why financial planning is a great career for women. While this long-term initiative is still in its early phases, we've already seen some important successes. In a recent webinar on this initiative, 3 of our WIN advocates shared how they've used the WIN Advocate Toolkit to hold events for Girl Scouts, high school students, and college students interested in financial planning careers. In 2015, CFP Board will be implementing additional initiatives outlined in the white paper, including developing a Faces of Women CFP Professionals awareness campaign and partnering with selected firms on pilot projects to promote gender diversity and professional development. If you're interested in participating in our Women's Initiative, please visit our website, again, www.cfp.net/win, and complete a short form indicating your interest. Our work to grow the number of CFP professionals also involves a lot of collaborative work. We are working with our education partners those are the CFP registered programs across the country, to encourage student enrollment and retention, as well as continued pursuit of CFP certification by their graduates. We are working with large firms to institutionalize the CFP certification, meaning to encourage and support CFP professionals and integrate financial planning into their service delivery models. And we're building bridges between our education partners and firms to help people establish successful careers in financial planning and continue progress toward CFP certification. This August, our annual CFP Board Registered Program Conference will again include a time for our academic partners to network with firm representatives to explore potential partnerships that will provide support to registered programs and new hires to employers. And we are pleased as the interest in growing the profession's capacity that we are seeing from all corners of the profession.
Kevin, I know there's been some changes related to parts of the CFP certification requirements announced to be implemented within the past year. Can you fill us in on what those changes are, what prompted the changes, and how the changes are being implemented?
Indeed, I will, Felicia. We've made several updates to the certification requirements in recent years as an outcome of our regular review of our requirements in light of the profession of financial planning that continues to evolve. One of the most broad-ranging impact is our implementation of our latest job task analysis study. Approximately every 5 years, CFP Board conducts a job task analysis for the practice of financial planning. It's the largest research project devoted to financial planning in the U.S. This research is critical to our mission at CFP Board to benefit the public by granting the CFP certification and upholding it as the recognized symbol of excellence. It impacts everything from our education curriculum requirements and developing questions for our exam to how we shape our continuing education criteria and respond to current trends and needs in the profession. The structure and comprehensive nature of this research also helps to further define the profession's body of knowledge and ensures that we get a thorough understanding of the issues facing CFP professionals and their clients today, as well as an understanding of emerging trends. The job task analysis process begins with research involving subject matter experts who develop statements about the job tasks and knowledge topics that make up financial planning. The statements are then vetted by practicing CFP professionals from a validation survey, and more than 3,700 CFP professionals completed the survey, and we appreciate each and every person who did participate in the study. The results of the validation survey are then used to develop the test specifications for the CFP exam, with updates to our list of topics for the job domains and principal topics. What you see here is a representation of how all of the outcomes of our job task analysis came together. I think this infographic reflects nicely how financial planning integrates many elements. You have the 8 principal knowledge topics in the center here, addressed through the job task domains and applied to individual client situations that involve a number of contextual variables. The contextual variables are an important new feature of our job task analysis results, and they emphasize the holistic and integrated aspect of financial planning and the need to consider situational contexts. We are currently at work on implementing the new job task analysis with a plan that will take us into 2016. The expanded list of principal topics will be eligible for CE beginning January of next year, and the new list will first be tested on the CFP exam in March of 2016. Exam candidates may notice some questions based on the expanded list beginning as early as next month. The exam items develop the exam item development process involves some pre-testing with questions that are not scored but may be used and scored for later exam administrations. If you'd like to review the new list more closely or review the implementation timeline, you can visit our website at cfp.net/JTA2015. That stands for Job Task Analysis. So it's cfpboard.net or cfp.net/JTA2015. We've held webinars and provided other communications for our registered program and continuing education sponsors to review the new list and, so that we can keep them up to date. We are also now implementing the first phase of a multi-year CE quality improvement initiative that the Board of Directors approved a couple of years ago back in November of 2013. We had heard from CFP professionals, and I hear this when I'm out on the road, that quite candidly there was some crappy CE available. That's a technical term, Felicia, crappy CE. And the CE is so important because it is how we assure continued competence. You told me you became certified in 2001, and if you'd done nothing since then, your competence would have eroded and you wouldn't be current. The first phase of this quality initiative is to introduce several updates to the requirements for CE programs registered with CFP Board, and we think it'll provide CFP professionals with additional information about these CE programs. Our Find a CE Program tool on the website has been updated to provide 2 additional types of information to help you select relevant programs. The program's level of complexity is the first, either overview, intermediate, or advanced. And then secondly, the program's stated learning objectives, which specify what participants will learn through the program. And we will soon be sharing a way for CFP professionals to provide us with feedback on the quality of the programs they attend. The vision there, Felicia, is like TripAdvisor for CE programs.
Well, Kevin, I have to tell you, I'm excited about this because I'm in the process of getting my CE done for July, and your technical term definitely...
You've attended a program that wasn't as strong as it might have been in the past?
I have, and I'm excited to know that you guys are going to be making changes to that.
Well, that's great. We appreciate the cooperation of CFP professionals and our CE sponsors with implementing these and future initiatives to improve the quality of CE programming. It's so important. I'm pleased to share with you that we've implemented also an alternative Capstone course and expanded the experience requirement. Last November, the board approved an alternative pathway to completing the financial plan development requirement, which we refer to now as the Capstone course. You didn't have to do that, but we implemented that in 2012. This requirement was added a couple of years ago to ensure that candidates had actually developed and delivered financial plans before we certified them. What we found is that the new requirement added time and expense for experienced financial planners who wanted to take the CFP exam under what we call the challenge status. Challenge status provides exam eligibility for those who've achieved specific licenses or degrees or credentials that we've already pre-approved. When the Capstone course requirement took effect in 2012, these individuals were also required to take a Capstone course before they could register for the exam. And we saw a measurable decline in the challenge status candidates as soon as we put that in place. That's probably not a surprise. The new alternative will allow these individuals to submit a financial plan that they have prepared to be reviewed by a group of peers. They will be able to satisfy the Capstone course requirement without actually having to sit through another course. More information about the Capstone alternative and the form for applying for review is available on our website. Once again, cfp.net/Capstone-alternative. There's an opportunity for a shorter URL, don't you think? Last November, the board also expanded the type of experience that we will accept toward the experience requirement. Activities that CFP Board will consider include things like employee benefits administration, financial planning compliance, or journalism focused on financial planning topics. Experience submissions, including these activities, will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. We have now begun accepting experience under the expanded definition. Again, you can find more information at our website, cfp.net/experience.
Got it. Well, we've covered a lot of material this afternoon. Let's turn the program over to the questions our listeners have submitted. First question is from Jesse, who would like to know the current number of registered programs, 2, the current number of institutions with registered programs, and 3, the number of new programs anticipated by the end of the year.
I can take that one. Jesse, we currently have 374 registered programs at 228 different colleges and universities. So obviously some universities have multiple programs, with another 27 in development. We hope that at least a quarter of those in development will be registered by the end of the year.
Got it. Rich, this question is for you. Leslie asked, what plans do you have to collaborate with the FPA, Financial Planning Association, which some of us consider our professional membership group, for continuing education and networking?
Well, Felicia, we have a strong working relationship with FPA. We share many of the same constituents and stakeholders, and there are many activities that we do together for each other. We mentioned our work together with NAPA as members of the Financial Planning Coalition. That's an important collaboration addressing key policy issues affecting the profession. And we're certainly looking forward to FPA's annual conference this fall, what they've named FPA-B Boston. B is in B-E, Boston. During that conference, we'll be hosting some special events celebrating CFP Board's 30th anniversary and the progress that we've made together in building a profession.
You know, I want to add one more thing there, Felicia. I mean, we work very closely with FPA as far as it relates to helping with continuing education, maybe not so much, but certainly with networking. We share numerous lists with FPA. We meet with their leaders on a regular basis. Lauren Shadle, their CEO, and I have a regularly scheduled monthly phone call where we're staying in touch, and frequently we speak in between that regularly scheduled call. We give discounts to FPA members for the CFP exam. So there are any number of ways that, Leslie's asking, what are we doing or how are we working together? I just wanted to share those additional areas.
Well, I appreciate that. Rich, I want to set the next one up for you. Mandy asks, how can the CFP Board help educate CFP professionals in the different compensation models for fee-only planners, including charging based on assets under management, hourly fees, and retainer agreements?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I should point out that CFP Board is neutral on the question of business models. We don't endorse one particular model over the others, and we believe that CFP professionals can provide competent and ethical financial planning using any of the established compensation models. I might add, though, that as to the extent that it relates to practice management considerations, meaning compensation structure, that would be, I think, a matter that's probably addressed by the membership association, the FPA, and others.
Rich, Jeffrey writes, I frequently read about the agenda to increase the number of CFP professionals. I generally agree that this is good for consumers. However, I have read some perspectives that suggest that the CFP Board is so focused on increasing its size and revenue that it's sacrificing the quality of the designation. I'm curious about what safeguards are in place to make sure the quality of CFP professionals remains as high as it is today.
Good question. As I shared earlier, the board's discussions about growth have centered around the concept of growth with integrity. The board is committed to upholding the integrity and the strength of CFP certification standards, and we're certainly not looking to water down the standards to get more people in the door. In fact, if you look at our history over the last many years, we've continually taken steps to strengthen the certification, the standards for attaining and holding the CFP marks, Felicia.
Okay. Kevin, Matthew asks, will the pass rate be lowered in the future to keep the test difficult enough to ensure the prestige of the designation?
You know, that's not how the exam standard setting process works. The pass score is set at levels that demonstrate competency across job task domains. So we don't, you know, that pass rate is set rather by experts in the testing business. These are what we call psychometricians. Psychometricians are experts in human testing and performance. That is done outside of CFP Board, so we don't rejigger that pass rate. It goes up, it goes down. When it goes up, it's generally because it's a little bit smarter group of people taking the exam, and when it goes down, I'll let you draw that conclusion.
Kevin, with the pass, actually I was going to ask the same question. I apologize for that. Kevin, Martha asks, for the ethics requirement for continuing ed, can you use hours from programs various organizations put on, or do you need to have a specific online course?
So the CE standards at CFP Board require that CFP professionals take 2 hours of CE programs that meet our ethics requirements. These programs must be registered. There's a higher level. It's so important, we feel. There's a higher level of scrutiny of those programs. You can generate a list of these CFP Board approved programs, ethics programs from our website. Now, there are other programs out there that may address ethics or other issues. They generally are approved for, or can be approved for, general CE credit. But for that, every 2 years, you have 2 of the 30 hours have to be a specific program, and you can find those on our website.
Got it. Rich, I want to ask a question. Could you speak to the other modules such as Social Security, distribution specialists, something that my company would pay for, but doesn't, and that I could reference any chance of that, and that's being asked by Bruce.
Well, it wasn't that long ago, just a couple of years ago, seems like just yesterday, that we asked CFP professionals and other stakeholders in a survey to provide comments or feedback to us on whether CFP Board should enter the CE business, which is really what the basis of your question is. There was some interest. In other words, we did receive some feedback to that. But also a lot of opinion, the majority of the opinion was against us getting into that business. So ultimately we decided not to enter the CE market at that time. So while we're not offering CE programming currently, we are working on an important initiative that should lead to new research on financial planning areas. So I would ask our listeners to keep an eye out later this year for announcements along this line.
Rich, Roger asks, do you anticipate the growth of the robo-advisor segment of the industry to affect the demand for CFP professionals?
Interesting question. You do see a lot in the media about that trend. In fact, the board has had 2 different meetings where we heard from representatives, not only industry consultants that focus on this, but also CEOs of a handful of the robo-advisors, and they each have kind of their own unique approach to it, delivery mechanism and business models. So we've had a lot of good discussion at the board level on this topic. It's an important topic, obviously, and we're excited at the possibilities that automated online advice provides to segments of the public that aren't really being reached by our profession as it stands today. But it remains to be seen how this trend is going to play out. My personal view of it is that advice can only be rendered by an automated system to some level, and that the human interaction will remain an important component, but it will challenge professionals just as LegalZoom and WebMD challenge professions in those areas to be able to provide a unique value add and not just rote advice or information.
Well, Rich, I'm going to ask another question. You know, Kevin talked a lot about what the CFP Board has been doing in the past in terms of the marketing engine for the public awareness campaign. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on there?
Well, the board has authorized the campaign to continue as long as it continues to produce results. And so Kevin spoke to those results, which have been dramatic. As he mentioned, 1 in 3 individuals in that mass affluent initiator demographic are able to, on an unaided basis, identify a CFP mark, which is vastly ahead of the other designations that you might think of that we all know that are held by some in the financial advice business. As we've done each year, our team will be reviewing the performance of each part of the advertising plan, from the ads themselves to where they are actually placed. That will determine things like whether to keep moving ahead with the current ad. We refer to it as creative. It's just jargon for the ad, what it looks like, the themes and so forth that are incorporated into it, and whether or not to supplement or change it, and whether to change the mix of media placements that are involved in the campaign.
Rich or Kevin, can you just kind of speak to very quickly what the mass affluent initiator is? Who are those people?
Yeah, that's yours, Kevin.
Oh, thanks, Rich. So, look, in the research that we originally did for the campaign and have subsequently validated, the primary target, not the exclusive target, but the primary focus is both a demographic and a psychographic.
Okay.
So let's start with the demographic first. So the mass affluent, it's a term we typically know. It's fairly well defined, $100,000 to $1 million of investable assets. We further narrow that down, though, in our customized target market. So 35 to 64. Well, people say, I have older clients, or not exclude, but that's our target, 35 to 64, $125,000 of annual income. And then beyond that, our research showed that there really weren't many other demographics that determine whether or not an individual would be likely to engage a CFP professional. But you know this, Felicia, there's a mindset about folks that are potential clients. And that mindset we have further quantified. And that mindset is that people who trust experts, people who like to work in teams, they feel a sense that they should take responsibility for their future. All of these components, this mindset plus the demographics, make up what we call the mass affluent initiator.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well done, Kevin.
So, Kevin, William asks, what's happening as far as the lawsuit with the college football playoff?
Well, look, there is no lawsuit with the college football playoff. We're aware that there are a lot of references to the college football playoff, and it's abbreviated as CFP. It comes up on my Google alert now rather frequently. But at present, the NCAA itself does not appear to be using this abbreviation as part of its identity, and the abbreviated references being made are primarily news. We just, quite candidly, we just don't think there's a lot of opportunity for confusion there.
All right. So there's a number of questions coming up about this Department of Labor fiduciary. So Janelle asked and wrote in about, she'd like our view on the likelihood of the DOL passing this legislation, as well as more information about the details of their proposal. And Rich,
I know you're going to take this, but just for folks, because we have a number of questions coming in about the DOL and how it would apply in very specific circumstances. So we will provide answers. If we don't get to those today, we'll provide answers to folks who had specific questions. So I didn't mean to interrupt. I wanted you to know that.
Yeah. Well, as to the odds, I'm not going to venture an over/under to maybe continue with the sports theme here. But I guess again for our listeners, I would suggest for details of what's in the proposal, I'll refer to the summary that CFP Board put together with our Financial Planning Coalition partners recently, and which you can find on the coalition's website, which is www.financialplanningcoalition.com. I would say basically the DOL's proposed rule places a fiduciary duty on any individual who receives compensation for providing retirement investment advice that is designed for a particular retirement plan sponsor, plan participant, or IRA owner. That includes things like what to buy or sell and whether to roll over a 401k into an IRA. The fiduciary advisor responsibilities would apply based on the advice provided, not based on the advisor's title or the types of licenses he or she holds. The proposed rule specifically excludes from the fiduciary advisor responsibilities such as order taking, that's a carve-out, and a general education carve-out on retirement issues. It also accommodates a range of business models through what the DOL refers to or calls prohibited transaction exemptions, which are essentially checklists of actions an advisor must take before he or she can provide advice that may be conflicted. I will say that CFP Board and our partners in the Financial Planning Coalition support the proposed rule, and we believe an expanded fiduciary duty will benefit the public. We will be offering proposed changes to make it work better in our commentary or comment letter that we are going to be submitting to the DOL. And further, the DOL has made it clear that it wants industry input on particular ways to better operationalize the rule. And further, the DOL's current proposal clearly reflects that we believe it clearly reflects that they listened to many of the concerns expressed by the industry in response to its initial proposal back in 2010.
Got it. So let me ask kind of a follow-up question for Kevin. How do you envision implementation realistically for small IRA and 401k type accounts that are invested in some sort of fee-based structure where the agents may not want to touch small accounts due to the forms that are necessary to open a small account under a more stringent fiduciary standard?
Well, Felicia, we believe, first of all, that small accounts are entitled to a fiduciary standard just like large accounts. The rule, or at least as it's currently proposed, permits commission-based advice, typically probably more prevalent in small accounts. Also, new emerging business models supported by technology are available to small account savers.
Okay. So, also, Kevin, this question is for you from Douglas. How would you grow the number of CFP professionals in many of the firms who will be affected by the DOL proposed rule to amend the definition of fiduciary under the ERISA, decide to raise the account minimums to somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 before they'll allow an advisor to work with a particular client?
I'm not really sure that you need to raise the account minimums. The DOL rule permits commission-based compensation, again, usually for small accounts. Let me share, this is a hot topic, and there's a lot being written about it, and we're on record, the sky is not falling. In 2007, CFP Board implemented its fiduciary rule. And you would have thought the world was coming to an end when we used the F word in relation to providing financial planning advice. We had all the major trade organizations that are out there now making noise about this rule. In our offices, we had just moved to Washington, and they were there, saying this is unworkable. Well, you know what? It was workable, and the firms figured out a way to comply with CFP Board's fiduciary duty. Furthermore, as Rich mentioned at the beginning, the number of CFP professionals after we announced a fiduciary standard has increased by 32% and continues to go up month over month over month.
So Andrea writes, could you please clarify what being a fiduciary as a CFP professional versus being a professional fiduciary? And this question is really for Kevin.
Felicia, I'm not sure what Andrea's talking about. I've never heard the term. I'm not sure what she's referring to as a professional fiduciary. It's not an established title that I'm aware of. As far as a CFP professional's fiduciary duty, you can find a number of resources on our website. Again, that goes back to 2007, our standards of professional conduct. Let me give it to you in a soundbite, though. Basically, our rules of conduct, Rule 1.4, says that a certificant shall, now this is important, at all times place the interest of a client ahead of his or her own. And then when that certificate's providing financial planning or material elements, the certificate owes the client the duty of care of a fiduciary as we've defined that at CFP Board. So that's what I'm not sure what necessarily she was talking about, but that's what our standard requires.
Yeah, and not to change anything that Kevin mentioned as to our own definition. I think what maybe the question, sometimes professional or fiduciary, is an individual acting in a capacity as a trustee or somebody in that capacity. And so that is not necessarily someone who is looked to as a financial planner and doesn't directly bear on our rules and standards that apply to those that obviously are CFP professionals.
All right, so let me ask one final question before we start to close out, because we're getting close to the end. And this is by Ray, and this question is for Kevin. And Ray is asking, you said the FPSB certified over 150,000 worldwide. Don't you mean that there were 150,000 worldwide with 72 in the United States that are certified by the CFP Board?
Well, yes. Worldwide, over 150,000. Of those, though, as of today, there are 72,201 in the United States and another 80,000 plus outside the U.S. By the way, more CFP professionals worldwide than CFA charter holders, which sometimes is a fact that people are surprised to learn.
Yeah. So we're just about out of time. Rich, do you have any parting thoughts you'd like to share?
Well, I'd certainly like to thank everyone for joining us for today's webinar. And Felicia, special thanks to you for contributing to our webinar today and for being a part of our Women's Initiative Council. All of us at CFP Board are looking forward to celebrating the 30th anniversary of CFP Board's creation, which we're actually in the midst of our 30th year, and it took place, obviously, in 1985, the month of July, to be specific. This milestone will provide an opportunity to celebrate what we have accomplished and take a look at what still needs to be done going forward. And we'll be soon sharing details about some special events celebrating CFP Board's 30th anniversary. We're having events at FPA's specifically. We're having events at FPA's annual meeting in Boston this September. And FPA has strong programming that supports, I think as many of us know, supports the work of CFP professionals, and its annual conference is the largest gathering of CFP professionals, so we're looking forward to celebrating this together. CFP's certification's standing as the recognized standard for financial planning is something we've achieved together, and we appreciate everyone's ongoing support. I hope you all will make plans to join us at the anniversary celebrations in September at Boston B.
And Felicia, I also want to thank everyone who supports CFP certification and the profession. We have a lot of important initiatives underway, and I want to encourage everyone to stay connected and get involved in the important work we're doing. All of us at CFP Board's leadership appreciate everyone who's taken time to share their time and talents to support our initiatives. There are many opportunities for you to help us grow the capacity of the profession, whether it be offering internships to students and those who just got out of college or offering encouragement to young planners. CFP Board's mission is one we cannot achieve without the collaboration and support of the CFP professional community and financial planning profession. And we all appreciate the time and energy that so many of you, including yourself today, Felicia, have contributed to helping us achieve our mission.
I wanted to just say thank you all for sharing this update of CFP Board's work and for everyone joining us today on today's webinar. A recording of this presentation will be posted to the CFP Board's website within the next week, and the CFP Board will follow up with those who asked questions that we did not have time to address during this broadcast. Thank you very much for being here. We'll see you next time.